Yeah, okay. So guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Fine. I'm going to share a screen. So let us create a machine first. After that, we will see like what sort of basic actions are required in order to perform these activities, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first of all, we are going to give it a name. Let us call it Linux box. Now we need to select here RHL 9. You can read the description here like Red Hat Enterprise 9 HVM SSD volume type. So this is the other details of that AMI which we have selected.
Sir,
And
sir, I have one doubt, sir.
yeah, please.
Sir, how can we select AMI, sir, like Ubuntu, Red Hat, or something?
Okay, so first of all, this particular thing depends on the requirement. Let us say if you have like subscription from Red Hat, then you can go with this Red Hat images, Red Hat image. Second thing, let us say if you want to work with free operating system or want to utilize Linux flavor, then you can go with Ubuntu. Moreover, if you want to get Linux support from Amazon, then you can choose this one, Amazon Linux, right?
Okay,
Moreover, if there are some specific kind of software which requires this sort of operating system, let us say let's use a Linux, or maybe let us say that you have a specific software which runs only on Windows, then you can select Windows operating system here.
so
Right?
depend on the company policy, we
Yes,
will.
it completely depends on the company's requirement.
Okay, sir.
Moreover, let us say that if you are looking for some specific kind of software, for example, you are working with such kind of organization where security is utmost priority, security is topmost priority, right? So
Mm.
what you can do there is you can look for like uh, like marketplace. You can go to AWS marketplace, right? And then
Mm.
after these are the kind of softwares which are available.
Okay, sir.
For example, if you want to work only for DevOps tools, so you can select here DevOps. Now, inside DevOps, you will be able to see, let us say, Palo Alto.
Mm.
This is a kind of firewall which they are providing. You can talk about like Fortinet. You can talk about like cPanel, WHM, right? Plus, so
Mm.
multiple softwares are there which you can select and you can host these particular. Moreover, you can think of Tenable,
Mm.
Nessus. This is a particular tool for scanning network vulnerabilities and OS related vulnerabilities. You can use any of the software, right?
Yes, sir.
But it will be depending only on your requirement, like what do you want to work, what
Okay,
do you
sir.
want to select. So for now, because right now we are going to talk about, let us say we are going to select Red Hat.
Mm.
So your security group rules will be overwritten. One custom volumes will be deleted. So let us cancel this particular process and let us begin from start, right? So we are going to select this one. These are the particular details of image. This is architecture. So right now we have two type of architecture like ARM and 64. So we are going to go with x86 64-bit. Now this is the particular size. So this is always modifiable. Like we can modify this particular size later on as well. Today I'm going to show you that how to modify the size of one EC2 machine.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So right now we are talking about this is simple EC2 machine with T2 micro. T2 micro comes with one virtual CPU like vCPU and 1 gig of memory. Okay. Then if we talk about keys, then these are the keys which I'm going to have in order to log into this particular machine. I already have this key pair. If you do not have access to any of readily available key pair or the particular key pair which were downloaded earlier, so you can create new key pair. Then after we need to select here a couple of other details related to networking. Now, what sort of details we want to see here? First of all, it is going to be your VPC subnet. Like if you want to have any preferred subnet, so I'm going to select here AP South 1A. Then after auto assign public IP, do you want to assign public IP address to this machine or not? If you are not working with VPN, then public IP address will be required. And there are some other information which are also required. So for now, for this particular video, for this particular topic, we are going to enable it because we need to log into this machine later on. Okay. So do you have any existing security group? If you have, then okay. If you don't have, you can create a new security group. Right? You can give it a name. Let us say Linux box. Let us say I'm going to run a web server on this. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are going to enable SSH onto this particular machine from everywhere. Why it is so? Because if I have any specific IP address where from I want to log in, so I can do that. Like I can define that CIDR range here, or maybe the IP address of my VPN, IP address of my office internet. So wherever from I want to enable this login, I can do that. And if you see here, like port 22 protocol is TCP and port range is 22 only. Like only this particular port is being opened from anywhere. Otherwise, there are a couple of other options. I can select here my IP. What does that mean? This will capture my ISP IP address, like the particular IP address using which I'm running internet on this particular laptop, using which I'm sharing my screen, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark it as anywhere. Now, one disk of 10 GB with GP3. What is this GP3? There are different type of SSD, or you can call that EBS, elastic block storage, available, using which we can configure our operating system, such as like we have GP3, we have GP2, we have provisioned IOPS SSD, like which is known as IO1 and IO2. So when we will talk about EBS volumes in detail, then we will discuss about it. For now, we are going to select the particular GP3 one. Okay. If you want to configure some advanced detail, let us say you are creating a Windows machine and you want to connect that particular Windows machine with your some AD Active Directory. You can define the details. If you want to attach some kind of IAM profiles, then in that particular case, in case of if you want to select any IAM role here, you can define that. So you can do that here. Moreover, like if you want to enable auto recovery of your instance, you can do that. Disable, like select default or disabled. So these sort of options are available here. Multiple options are here, but because we want to work with Linux operating system first, and we will discuss these particular points later on.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So right now I'm going to hit launch instance. So what we are going to do here, first of all, we will log into this particular machine. Then we will try to see the particular basic details of Linux operating system. Why it is so? Because within this particular series, we will try to cover complete Linux administration guide. We will not talk about RSCE or RSCSA, but we will talk about this Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9, configuring basic system things. Once we will go through this particular basic part, then we will try to go for advanced part. Because first of all, basics are necessary. Let us say how to check time, how to check host name, how to see where the host names are defined. These sort of basic things we are going to cover. Once we are done with this, then we will move ahead for advanced topics.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So this is a particular book which I have downloaded from internet directly. This is readily available. Like anyone on internet can search and can download this particular. So we are going to have here this particular machine. So first of all, what does Red Hat say? Because see, this particular book comes from Red Hat itself. So we will try to go by their suggestions, configuring the network and hostname in the graphical installation mode. Because since we do not have GUI, so we will not go with this. We will go with CLI, configuring an Ethernet connection by using CLI. So there is a particular command known as nmcli connection show. So before that, we do anything, let us try to log into this machine. Only then we shall be able to execute the command. So what is the command here? nmcli. What is nm network manager CLI? Like command line interface. CLI stands for command line interface. And what is nm network manager, right? If you see, what is the command here? What command did I execute?
NMCL.
nmcli. What is nm network manager? What is this CLI? Command line interface.
Command line.
Connection and then show. So we are going to we executed this command just to check that how many network interfaces are available on this particular system, right? Okay. Now, if you want to see what other details are there, for example, if you want to add another connection name here, then you can define here. But obviously, we are not going to do because see, there is a particular file in Linux operating system inside etc. Okay, let us check the IP address first. Okay, this is the IP address of this machine. Right? This is the IP address of this machine. So if I want to see the IP address of this machine only, so what I can do? Like I can run a command IPR ETA0. It is something different which is configured. Okay. So, for example, guys, if you want to add one new interface, let us say you want to create an additional connection profile, so that can also be done with the help of nmcli command. This particular command will help you, but in order to do that, we need to have an IP address, such as if you see here, such as we have this particular IP. So we should be aware of that what another free IP address is available, which we can configure on this particular operating system, right? So how to do that? The command is going to be executed nmcli connection add. Then after we are going to give a connection name. Then if name like interface name, type Ethernet. So what are going to be these details? So if you see here, if you see what is system ETA0, this is the particular connection UUID, universal unique identifier, type Ethernet, and device is ETA0. So it means first of all we need to have a device. Device means like we need to have one additional configuration there using which we can check that. Because in order to configure one IP address on the operating system, we need to have a LAN card associated. So first of all, we need to have that device available. Only after that, we can do this. Okay, then what next we are going to do? It's the same way, like if someone is trying to work with IPv6, there are two type of IP addresses, IPv4 and IPv6. So we can configure IPv6 as well. And the same nmcli command is going to be utilized. Just we add append one more thing here, which is going to be as like method. And what method we are talking about here? Guys, what sort of method we are going to utilize here? This is going to be IPv6, right? Okay, so because IPv6 we don't have, if you want to modify any existing connection, you can define with the help of nmcli connection modify command. So why I'm telling you this particular thing, guys? Because basic thing here is to check IP address. We are talking about here like basic verification of our IP address, like on which particular server we are going to work. Because as a Linux administrator, as soon as we log in to this particular operating system, first of all, we need to check, okay, whether we are on right server. So we need to check the IP address. We need to check the gateway. How do we check gateway of any operating system, guys? So when we run this command IP address show, so this will display all the information here, like this is the interface name. Then after, what sort of configurations are available here, like broadcast, multicast, up, it is up, lower up, what is MTU. So every sort of information you can check here. Are we clear with this? Like this is going to tell us like interface name. This is broadcast. This is this is subnet, or you can call it broadcast address. What is the IP address? Every single information is available here after running this particular command. And the command name, once again, I'm going to show you here, IP address show. Now, in case if you want to see any specific interface, let us say I don't want to see the information of both interface, like LO, which is known as loopback, right? What I can do, I can run the command for a specific interface like ETH0, IP address show ETH0. Then it will display the information only for this particular interface card. Are we clear with this? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Now let us talk about that. How do we see the host name of an operating system? So the command here is host name. It means like computer's name we are talking about. So whenever we need to check the computer name of any computer, then what we can do, we can run a command host name. Now, if I want to set this host name, like I will execute a command host name, then the particular name which I want to define to this particular box. But this name is not still visible here. For doing that, I need to log out and log in again. Then it will be reflecting here. But guys, keep one thing in mind. By default, this host name is set only for runtime. If I log out from the operating system and log in again, then this host name will not be available. In order to define that, there is a particular file like inside etc. etc is known as editable text configuration. This is the particular file where we can define the host name for permanent. Now, if I log out and log in again, then this particular host name is going to remain the same. So let us try to log out and log in again. Did you see the difference?
Yes, sir.
I logged out from the operating system and I logged in again. But if you see, my operating system does not come up with the previous host name, but with the host name which I defined here. Right, guys? Okay. Now let us move next. So this is kind of, if you want to see kind of gateway, So you can run IP route show default. That command you can check here to check IP route. So this is the particular route, means gateway which we have. This is the gateway for this operating system. This is IP address and this is gateway. So with this particular command, we can check gateway or of our operating system. Because let us say, if I want to go out of this particular network, then definitely I need to check the gateway first, whether my traffic is going out from my system's gateway. So gateway is just like the particular gate which you have in your room in order to go out, or maybe inside your house in order to go out the world. So that way, like this is a particular machine which is configured. If we want to go go out on the internet, then we need to go via this particular device. Okay. So if we talk about that, how do we search the DNS settings? Where are the particular DNS settings available? So guys, anyone who can tell me something about DNS?
Domain name server, sir.
And what is it?
If like
Yes, guys. Anything else aside to this?
So like we create any website, yeah, anything else. So which name we can search?
for
Okay.
example, if we add some IP in domain name like R53, it will create depends on our requirement. It will create some domain names.
Wait. So let us search here google.com. So if I hit this particular button, like enter button, this will take me to google.com, right? This has taken me to google.com.
Yes, sir.
Now, there has to be some IP associated behind this particular domain name, right? Let us say
Yes, sir.
I'm going to run a command ping google.com. So if you see some IP address is being resolved here, right? This IP address is resolving. Moreover, if I run a command host, let me install the command dnf. So if you see here, so guys, what we are trying to see here, if we run a command host, then www.google.com. So it is going to give us two IP addresses, one for IPv4, right? And one is IPv6. So we get two IP addresses against this particular domain name. But end of the day, if you see, so we are always going to utilize this domain name only. But we do not care that what IPv4 or maybe IPv6 address is registered here, right? We do not care about that particular thing. So why we like how this is happening, like this particular domain name is getting resolved along with this IP address. So in backend, there is a particular software, or you can call that service, which is known as DNS, domain name system. that is being utilized in order to convert a domain name, and that is going to resolve a domain name against a IP address. One more very good example we can take. So we all utilize our mobile phones, right?
Yes, sir.
And whenever we try to save a new number, so what happens here? First of all, we ask a person his or her phone number. Then after we dial that number, after dialing it, we try to that maybe in future we may need to get in touch with them. So what do? We save their contact number, right? So
Yes, sir.
whenever we need to call them once again, do we recall their numbers or do we just type that particular name, whatever we saved, and then after we try to call the person? So we try to call by the name rather than remembering the number, because human tendency is we are really like it is really easy to remember anyone's name rather than the number. In the same fashion, whenever we need to open a domain name, we need not to worry about that what sort of IP address is associated behind it. But end of the day, all the domains, all the websites available on internet are being accessed over an IP address only, right? But it is
Yes,
just
sir.
a kind of mapping, or you can call that a wrapper, that we call a domain name, but it gets resolved against an IP address, and then our website opens. Okay, so guys, what if I try to resolve this IP address directly? That is resolved against this particular domain name only, right? See, like I am trying to access that particular directly, like HTTPS, then this. Like once again, it is going to google.com, right, guys? So when we are talking about this particular mechanism, when we are talking about this particular stuff, then what is happening here? There is a particular file, etc resolve.conf. Cat is a particular command in order to read content of any file. So we need to be very sure that in which particular file we define the DNS settings. DNS means domain name server. We need to define all the settings related to a domain name inside this particular server.
Sir,
Inside, yeah. Please go ahead.
how
If you have a
how
question, please go ahead.
how we know, sir, that domain name service will exactly there in slash etc slash resolve.conf?
Okay, that is where this is where we are discussing these things right now. So within any operating system, if it is related to Linux, maybe it is Ubuntu, maybe it is SUSE, maybe it is Red Hat, CentOS, whatever. So by default, all the operating system has this like standard file, etc resolve.conf.
Mm.
Like same as Windows. If we talk about like whenever we open any Windows Server LAN card setting, so at that moment we get an option to define or to read about DNS as well as the gateway options of it.
Mm.
The same way we have etc resolve.conf here.
Okay, sir.
This file is utilized in order to define the IP address. So let us say we open this file and we want to add another domain name here. So we can add up to maximum 3. So this is an interview question actually, like how many domain name can be defined over here within this particular file. So what is the answer here?
Three. Three.
Three.
We can define maximum 3 domain names. So if we add more than 3, obviously system will not stop us from adding. But let us say we are going to define here one more, like 8, like 4.4.2.2. So this is a DNS which is owned by Google, like Google DNS server, and this is of Yahoo. These are two open standard DNS server. If you want to check that if your DNS is working properly or not, and if your machine is accessible over internet, you can directly define these two domain names in order to resolve it.
Sir, it means Google have, I mean, only we can select the 3 servers. I mean, we can create only 3
So the
servers.
very first one should be the very first server which should be defined here, that should be provided by your own ISP. internet service provider. Because see, if you are trying to access anything over internet, then what is required? You need to have internet available, right?
Yes, sir.
Whenever you have the internet connection, so your ISP, like internet service provider, provides you one IP address, one subnet mask, one gateway, and one DNS. So the preferred one should be of that particular, like, which is provided by your internet service provider, and we call that ISP in a nut, like in short form, ISP, internet service provider. So the preferred DNS should be ISP provided. Then after, if that does not resolve couple of domains, then you can utilize second domain as google.com, like Google DNS 8.8.8.8,
Mm.
right?
Oh,
But the preference should be given to that one only, like which is provided by your ISP.
okay, sir.
Okay. So this is how we can add and we can read about the DNS information. Okay, let us move ahead. Now, the next thing which comes here is using the ping utility. Now, what does that mean, ping? So, use the ping utility to verify that this host can send packets to other hosts. For example, I want to check that if I send 100 packets to some other server or some other domain, then how many packets are being sent. So let us say I'm going to run here www.google.com, right? So it will start counting the number of packets, like ICMP. What is ICMP, guys? What is ICMP?
No ideas.
Okay, not a problem. So I'll tell you what is ICMP is. But before that, do you see that every single time we are just sending the data, then sequence number is increasing?
Sir.
So this ICMP stands for Internet Control Message Protocol. Okay, wait. So if you see how many overall packets were sent here, you see the number from here, and the
53.
same number is coming here, right?
Yes, sir.
53 packets were transmitted, 53 were received, 0 loss, and this is the time, overall time taken, right? If you want to see like RTT, minimum, maximum, average, like average, maximum, and MDEV. So these are the details of it, like what is the minimum time taken, what is maximum time taken. So that way you can define here our overall average time taken to transmit to like these 53 packets. Right, guys? So let us say if I want to ping only 10 packets, I can run a command like ping -cc for count, let us say 10 www.google.com. Because what happens sometimes it is observed when we are trying to terminate this session. We are trying to terminate this particular command. So sometime at the time of canceling it, maybe 1 or 2 packet may get lost. So if we run this particular command with this particular predefined syntax, so my system, my operating system knows it very well that we need to transmit only 10 packets, not more than that. Are we clear with that?
Sir, why you doing this, sir?
Come again?
Sir, why we transferring the packets, sir?
Okay, so these are ping packets in order to check the connectivity with the remote host.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So this is not only that we can ping only domain name, we can ping individual IP address as well. For example, if we want to ping whether we are reachable to Google DNS or not, 8.8.8.8. We can ping either a domain name or one IP address directly. So this should be clear. Not only domain names can be pinged, but okay, verify that network cable is plugged into the host and a switch. Now, how does that happen? So in order to verify that your network cable is added or not, if connectivity is not working, so first of all we will check the physical connectivity. Then after we need to check here IP address, whether any IP address is assigned to operating system or not. We can run a command IP space R, not hyphen, direct R. Okay. More like if someone is facing any kind of difficulties in order to check this sort of thing, so what kind of things we need to check? So if you see like troubleshooting here, right now we are talking about network troubleshooting, the very basic network troubleshooting right now we are talking about. So first of all, verify that network cable is plugged into the host and a switch. Check whether the link failure exists only on this host or on some other host as well connected to the same switch. So what does that mean? It could be possible that your cable is connected properly, but your switch is not properly, let us say, powered on, or like it's not configured properly, or maybe some sort of routing has to be done on your switch level, right? So if we can check that, that will help us to troubleshoot the issues. Okay. What is next? Verify that network cable and network interface are working as expected. It means whenever we connect a power cable and like same way the particular network cable into a device, so some light blinks up there. So we need to be very careful while doing that. Moreover, if the network configuration does not match onto the particular system, then we need to check that network manager creates an in-memory connection that reflects the configuration of the devices. Okay. One more thing I want to tell you guys. So if we talk about this particular file, what is this written here? The highlighted text, can you see that?
Default, sir.
Generated by network manager. What does that mean? Like if I take restart of my network service, how we are going to do that, we will discuss that later on within coming sessions. But just for understanding, let us say that if we are going to take restart of our network service, then the particular entries which I have made here manually, these entries will go away. These entries will not be found. Right, guys? So what we are trying to like say here, that if we want to make these entries as permanent, so what we need to do? We need to configure this particular as permanent. And how do we do that? There is a particular file. Obviously, we will see that later on. Like this particular file, ETH0. There is a particular file, fcfg-ETH0. So we need to make modification into this particular file. For example, if I want that whenever my system reboots or whenever my service gets restarted, so this particular entry should also come into this particular file, like etcresolve.conf. Now, how do we get to know like what are the particular files? Okay, so these are kind of some troubleshooting steps here. Configuring an Ethernet connection by using nmtui. So there are two utilities. First of all, it is nmcli, and then another one is tui. So these are two commands which can be used in order to configure your network connections. So if you see like this, so what do you want to do? Like initially when we were talking about like nmcli command, so at that moment this sort of dialog box did not come up. So over here we have an option like with the help of arrow keys we can select anything like edit a connection. Now what connection do you want to add? So this is the particular like entry here, right? Like this is the system name. If you talk about Ethernet, you want to see that particular default information. So whatever you want, you can define that from this particular system, and you can easily hit back. You can go back to this particular. I'm going to say, let us say, edit a connection. Let us say if you want to quit from here, you can do that. So the particular dialogs box which we were seeing here, so this particular gives us a particular facility, or you can call that advantage, using which we can easily define, add, delete, or like whatever kind of operation you want to perform with your this particular system interface. You can do that. You can add, edit, delete. These are the three operations which can be done. Back, hit, quit, and that's it. So are we clear with this? Like, what are the ways to add, modify, delete, or whatever kind of operation you want to perform in order to work with your network system? So are we clear with that?
Yes, sir. It's look like, sir, GUID.
Yes, it is sort of like partial GUI, not like you cannot click there, but yes, with the help of your right, left, up, down arrow keys, you can modify this. So this is nmtui,
Yes, sir.
not GUI basically.
Yes,
And
sir.
once again, the same commands are going to run here, like IP address show, then after ETH or ENP1S0, whatever the particular name you have defined for that NIC. NIC stands for, guys, what is NIC? Guys, what is NIC? Anyone who has idea about it?
No, sir.
This is known as network interface card, which is also known as LAN card. Okay. So once again, after making modifications, we can check IP route show default. Maybe if you want to see like IP route 6, you want to see the particular details in resolve.conf. Once again, you can check the ping utility. Right? So this is like if you are working with some GUI, like graphical user interface, then definitely these sort of options are available in your GUI. Now, managing networking using RHEL system rules. Now, what sort of thing you will get to know? Network, Ethernet, bridge, bonded, VLAN, MAC VLAN, InfiniBand. So these are kind of terminology which you will get to know when you will be working with this. So this is kind of basic networking things which we are trying to understand today. And if we talk about tomorrow, so we are going to discuss the next topic here. And what is that? Let us define that right away. So if you are aware of that, then okay. Otherwise, you can join tomorrow's session. So we are going to talk about changing basic environment settings like configuring date and time, displaying current date and time, configuring system locale, keyboard layout. So these sort of things we are going to discuss here. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Sir, what is the difference between NIC or WNIC?
W means wireless. W means wireless,
Okay, sir.
like Wi-Fi LAN card.
Okay, sir.
So I hope we are good, guys, for today. So we will connect tomorrow, same time at 8:30.
Sir, I have one question, sir. Sir, what is LAN, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
What is LAN, sir? NIC.
LAN stands for local area network. Like when you are trying to connect multiple computers, like based on wire,
Okay, sir.
that is known as LAN. So don't worry, like we will try to discuss a couple of other networking concepts, like what is IP address, what is subnet mask, what are different IP address series, like in classes, what is public IP address, what is private IP address, how do we identify what IP address is public, what IP address is private.
Okay, sir.
Are we clear, guys, with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we will connect tomorrow at the same time, 8:30.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you, sir.
everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, have a good time. Take care. God bless you all.